you're going to be leaving high school in just a couple of years or next year, and your digital footprint matters. And so that's an opportunity for them to begin cleaning all that up. We start in ninth grade. We hit it again in 11th grade, and we hit it again in 12th grade to ensure that the students understand that somebody who's doing research on them is going to be looking at their digital footprint.
You're listening to the SmartSocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday shine online. Now, let's get back to the interview.
Good afternoon. My name is Yolanda Valdez. I'm the superintendent of Cutler Rossi Schools. I serve a community, unincorporated community here in Tulare County. It's right smack in the middle of California. We serve primarily an agricultural community. Our district is about 4,000 students.
Superintendent, it is so great to have you on the episode here today. We're so excited to walk other superintendents through some of your successes, some of your learnings, so that we can all build resilient kids that are safe on the internet, that shine online, that are safe and successful for their future. So welcome to the program. But Superintendent, the first question I have for you today, what's your biggest accomplishment as a school district over the past 1 to 4 years?
Wow, there's so many that we can share. Let's start by us bouncing back from the pandemic. I believe that as a school district, we developed a plan. We've been implementing it. Our students have really bounced back from that horrible ordeal. They're achieving. We're graduating at the highest numbers. Our students are being accepted into universities and college at the highest numbers. Our offerings in college and careers, all of these pathways has really enriched the lives of our students. But I think one of the main things that we're super proud about is our community schools approach. This whole wraparound approach where we have really bolstered all of the supports in our schools with psychologists, social workers, and counselors, and multiple of them in our bigger schools. And I believe that has really allowed us to just truly focus on academic success because we know that our students are well emotionally and socially.
That's excellent. I love that you said the word success because there's so many ways to show that. And that's what we're here all about to do is to learn how you're doing that. So I want to dive in to the next question. Now, Superintendent, our questions aren't about doom and gloom, but we do get into a little bit of safety. So you can let other superintendents know how you're keeping kids safe. And then we're going to get into the positive side of social media and other areas. But first, I want you to give your advice that you would have for other school districts who might be dealing with a social media issue that could be originating on a social media app. I want you to think TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, or anything else. That online issue may create a very real issue on campus. What would your advice be to other school districts?
I truly believe in the inside out approach. And I think education in my community, primarily I serve a community with new immigrants, farm working individuals, and educating our parents first on the dangers and what's happening with social media platforms. We provide our community with technology academies, actually. And our parents asked us for this. They said, we don't know much about this. We don't know how to navigate this, yet our students are on these platforms. And in those academies, we provide our parents information on all of these social media platforms. So my advice would be begin with the inside out. Next, it would be our staff and our teacher and our students, of course. We have digital citizenship lessons throughout the year during our advisory. Mainly, we see this issue happening in middle school and high school. And so we really spend a lot of time educating on the do's and don'ts and really are consistent on outcomes when students do use social media in a negative fashion.
Well said. I like that inside out approach. So important. Now let's move into the positive side of social media. Could you provide some examples of how your students may have used their social media in a positive or productive way that may have benefited themselves or their community?
There's so many positive ways, right? Beginning with our elementary, we are really big in preparing our students for college, career, community, to be able to compete in a global economy. And so our little ones, they videotape themselves dressed up in the career, that their chosen career, and they post that in our district website or in the school social media, or we go and do little captions through our public informations officer. Those are all really positive. Currently, I just watched one that our athletic director and our trainer put together, and it's just fun and uplifting and really informs the community on what's happening in our district. I have to tell you something that was really surprising a couple of years ago when I asked our parents, where are they receiving their information? Where do they go to get their information from school? They said Facebook. And so that really got me thinking that we really need to bolster how we use Facebook, how we use our Instagram, and how we use our websites and all of that. So a lot of great things. They advertise, they promote all the wonderful things that are happening in our pathways, academies, and just learning.
That leads into the next question I have for superintendents like you is what suggestions do you have for parents to encourage their kids to use technology in a positive way, both in the classroom and at home?
Well, this is where I think it all begins. I think parents need to first educate themselves. And this is why we've spent so much time and effort educating our parents on technology and all of these platforms, because they need to understand what these platforms do, positive and negative, and then establish those guardrails beginning from the home, starting from dinner time, right? Do we use our device or do we don't use our device, right? So I truly believe that the key there is that we support parents with information so that then they can share it with their children and just really give their children some opportunities to have this discussion with them on what gets posted, what doesn't get posted, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and then really helping them understand what serious trouble they can get into when they post negative information.
I like that. And that's so true. Rather than saying, don't do this, hey, here's the serious trouble you can get into. We found that too. Hey, if you want to go down this rabbit hole, here's how you can lose a job, or here's how you can get hired or fired. And we let the kids make the decision. And 99.9%, they're going, I want to get hired, which I love that. Here's the repercussions if you don't.
I'd like to add something on how we prepare kids for college, career, community. One of our lessons that we do in our advisory, or actually not just one, several, have to do with just what you said there, that you're going to be leaving high school in just a couple of years or next year, and your digital footprint matters. And so that's an opportunity for them to begin cleaning all that up. We start in ninth grade, we hit it again in 11th grade, and we hit it again in 12th grade to ensure that the students understand that somebody who's doing research on them is going to be looking at their digital footprint.
Absolutely so true. And past performance is a predictor of future behavior here at Smart Social. So if a kid's very negative or making fun of other people, we like to remind them, are they going to let you in to their college? I love what you said, college, career, or community. And those three things can be gatekeeped if you're mean online. I love where you're going with this. This is absolutely great, Superintendent. Let's dive on into the next thing I want to talk about. You've really hinted at this. And this is the biggest question superintendents have is, Josh, how do I engage my community? How do I get parents to get the knowledge that I need them to have? And Superintendent, you talked a little bit about Facebook and parent engagement. And here's my question for you on those topics. What are your suggestions for other districts to increase their parent engagement? And on that topic, a follow-up question, are there any specific channels, events, or Facebook features that get the biggest turnout or engagement or communication transfer?
So I have to tell you, we've been tracking it. We didn't have a public informations officer for most of my 11 years as superintendent. Last 6 months, we hired a public informations officer. And what we found, because she does have time to look at all that information, was that clips or the pieces that highlight student successes or group successes have the most hit. Those quick little informational videos have the most hits. And so we really are learning on how to best use our social media very strategically. Before, we just used to post. We all did. All of our cabinet used to post all these wonderful things. But now it's just exactly when and how short or how long.
Well said. We're all, as district leaders and as parent engagement gurus, we're all in the content business now. What do we want them to know? How are we going to deliver it? When are we going to deliver it? And is it in bite-sized chunks so that they can receive it? Or do we squeeze it inside of another newsletter? All you other districts out there, if you're rolling your eyes going, my goodness, I feel like he got a part of my heart there. We're all in the same boat. So if you're struggling at all, our superintendent right now is in the same boat as you. Even Smart Social reaches tens of thousands of people every single day, millions of people a year, and we get it. So it's never inconceivable to ask, how do we break this down into a bite-sized nugget that a busy parent can read, understand, learn, and so on? Okay, Superintendent, I'm so glad you're here today. I've got just a couple more questions for you before we round this out today. My next question is a really interesting one. And if anybody who's listening or watching this has read the famous book right now that is hot, it's called The Anxious Generation. It's absolutely interesting about how when cell phones were invented just a little while ago, all of a sudden they're tracking how anxiety, depression, stress is now following kids because of the devices we have, whether it's an iPhone, an Android, a smartphone, even a smart watch where parents can text day in and day out as early as kindergarten in class, like, how are you doing? Are you okay? The buzzing. So my question for you is, and we're not anti-cell phone here at Smart Social, but we are pro kids focusing in the classroom. We are pro academic support. We are pro social support, helping those kids be social with other kids in real relationships. So my question is, what are your thoughts around some districts who are going cell phone free in the classroom to lower distractions and improve learning and student development?
Well, I have to tell you, 3 years ago, during my superintendent chats, I go on this tour with all my schools. That was the hottest topic from our middle school and high school teachers, is that these students, we can't attract their attention. This phone is a real distraction. So we took a stance. And so the middle school basically has a rule that we see the phone, it's ours, and parents have to come pick it up. That's working out really well. As you know, any rule that you put in place is only as good as everybody enforces it, right? High school bought these caddies for the phone. So as soon as a student walks in, they can caddy their phone, or they can keep it in their backpack, but it's not seen. We took that on, and I would say that we're in this journey. I think the middle school is working out really well. The high school, like I said, a rule is only as good as you enforce it. And I think for the majority of our staff, they're actually right on that, and know that that's something the principal has taken on to reactivate this year.
I want to go down that rabbit hole for just a sec and talk about success and learnings for other districts. This is a hot topic, Superintendent. Have you heard some teachers saying, okay, I'm so glad my district got behind me and got me, I'm going to call it a shoe caddy or whatever, a phone caddy.
It's like that. And the goal here is you get your phone charged during class.
Oh, brilliant. Look at that added value. What $1 million little idea. So you've got a bunch of chargers in there, 30 of them somehow, one big thing, and there's chargers sticking out of it. That is brilliant. So my question for you is, what has your feedback been from teachers, both positive, maybe the first 2 weeks were negative? What does that feedback look like from teachers, boots on the ground, the people we all love, when it comes to the caddy or the book bag, or giving them the leadership of saying, everybody put your phone away. Okay, we're confiscating this, giving it to the district, and the district's going to give it back to your parents, or the principal will. How has that been going so far? Do you have any successes or insights for us?
100% supportive. Teachers felt like there was a great need for that, for this administrators to support staff on that. Every other organization, you have a handful of people that don't want to deal with that. Nonetheless, the high school, most students just keep their phone in their backpack. And that's really what they do.
Yeah, I really think, Superintendent, this is a turning point. We're starting to see these devices being asked, let's put it away, let's turn it off, let's put it on silent. I don't want to hear any buzzing, because we want to focus and we want to learn this subject matter, this topic. There will be teachers who say, pull it out, let's use the calculator. But there's a lot of them going, pull out your Chromebook because we have a more controlled environment there. Let's use that.
Everybody has a Chromebook on their desk. They do not have phone like I used to see when I do classroom observations. I can tell you that at the middle school, I do not see a single phone. High school, they might try to sneak it in or something to that, like a quick look. I've seen some of that. Absolutely no phones on top of their desks the way it used to be.
All right. You just mentioned something. Let's go down this rabbit hole. We have 2 more questions, but I'm going to slip in a third one because, Superintendent, you're such an expert here. As you're doing classroom observations, what's a pro tip you have for newer superintendents who might be going, this is my first year, my second year, but I want to pop into some schools, but I want to get the raw interaction. What's your pro tip on your protocol to dive into a classroom to get that warm, fuzzy feeling? Because you probably started either as a teacher or principal or something like that worked your way up. How are you getting eyeballs on the ground of what's happening in your classrooms? Do you have a protocol?
Superintendent has to gauge the culture of their district. Since they're superintendent, they can change it. So initially, when I first became superintendent, everybody would be at ease when I walk into the room. Not anymore. My meetings with my principals are walking and talking, and we're walking into classrooms. I want to see firsthand whether our initiatives are alive and well or not. So when I have to meet with the principal, when I go visit a school, we're never in the office. We're walking and talking. We pop into the classrooms, stay about 10 minutes and move on to another, stay about 10 minutes, move on to another. And really, you're able to see whether discipline is in place in the sense of your guidelines for what you accept in your district or don't accept. And this is why I can share with you firsthand where we are with this phone situation. I would tell a new superintendent to definitely establish a culture where they can go visit their schools anytime they want. Now, the culture of my district, we do not have an appointment per se when I go visit a principal. Just pop in. Do you have time? That principal doesn't have time. I ask one of the assistant principals, but that time is sacred for me on my calendar because it's tough as a superintendent to block out these big blocks of time. When I visit a school, if the principal has meetings, I do not want them to cancel their meetings, but I'll take a learning director or an assistant principal.
I love that. And I want to speak to all of our listeners right now. What the superintendent just said is so brilliant. It doesn't matter the organization. It could be a for-profit business. It could be a nonprofit, like Smart Social is a partial nonprofit. It could be a school district. Every single organization has moving parts and it has a customer. The customer in this case are these kiddos who are raising amazing, resilient kids. And we want to nurture them in this academic and socially responsible relationship environment where they meet their peers and they learn and absorb. And it is so beautiful when we say, you know what? I'm going to set a culture. I'm going to set an understanding that I may pop in. And here's what a pop in looks like. It means I get to learn from you. I'm here to cheerlead you. I'm here to do great things. And it may be random. There's going to be random tests of just listening in. And I want to support you. So if you see me in your classroom, come up to me. I've got an open door, an open email, like email your principal, email me or whatever. But I love that because you're so much more sharp about what's happening in the classroom. You can serve the community. Your board knows what's going on. You can say, here's what I observed last week. I was in 10 classrooms and I got to see what middle school's like. And in addition, parents can come to you and say, what's going on? Here's why we're making this decision. So superintendent, I absolutely love this. And I encourage other districts, district leaders, pop in when you can. Boots on the ground, eyes and ears. Let's surround these kids with the love and also the business professionalism we need. Would you agree that a big part of your role is to know what's happening in the classrooms?
I love what you said because you have to message out to your school community. You're there to observe the students and what they're doing. You're there to just celebrate all the greatness that is happening. I think that's really important because sometimes staff feel that you're there to find something wrong. That's not what you're here for. You're there to just see how this whole big machine of education is coming along, right? So I really love that you said that because that's right on point.
I'm going to call you a cheerleader of that academic institution of all areas.
And you get to interact with so many staff members when you're outside of your office, right? You really get to give them a pat in the back or you learn something. And I think any leader, it's boots on the ground. The way I look at it is as a superintendent, my job during the day is to be FaceTime with people. My paperwork and everything else is done after 4:00. I know it makes for a long day, but that ensures that all your initiatives are moving forward. That ensures that this vision and these goals that have been set for the organization are moving forward. So FaceTime with all these different individuals is really what moves an organization forward.
Yeah. And you can really also fight for the needs of teachers when you're doing that. You can say, you know, I was noticing all these kids are distracted by these phones. And this would have been 3 years ago. What's going on, teacher? I'd love to pull you in. I need a teacher little meeting conference directly with the superintendent. I want to understand counselors, teachers, principals. You can jump in too. But let me hear directly from the frustrated people. What do we do to overcome this? I'm on fire for your ideas and how you're bouncing between classrooms. And I encourage all of our other superintendents and district leaders. I'm sure you're doing that, but explain that. I'm a cheerleader. I'm in here to support you, to love on you, so that we all have the best success with these kids to keep them safe and successful. All right, you got me all riled up. Now, in a good way, superintendent, I want to talk to you about my second to last question. And this is an interesting one. And we're noticing that superintendents really like asking this, and they have an answer and a path for the future for kiddos. Are there any personality tests, paths, or tools that your schools are using on either middle school or high school students to help the students find their why inside, their strengths outside, or their purpose to help them navigate their future?
So several years ago, we developed a college career continuum that begins in TK or pre-K and goes all the way to 12th grade. And in that continuum, we outline how we are impressing and teaching and exposing our students to college, career, information, and opportunities. So in 6th grade, our students take an inventory test to learn about where their aptitudes are and what careers might be aligned to that. Right? And then they take it again in 8th grade. And then they take it again different. It's 3 different tests that we take. So 6th grade, 8th grade, they take it again in 9th grade, and then 11th grade. And every one of those opportunities comes with instruction and reflection and deep dive to help our students understand kind of what type of jobs, where they can find, or what they might want to do in their futures. And we do that through our advisory periods that are to happen once a week, both at the middle school and the high school. In the elementary levels, we have all sorts of different college and career activities that take place throughout the year, but there's no inventory tests there.
Yeah, I love that. I love where you're going with this too, because it really talks a lot about at a younger age, nurturing those kids for their future, getting them excited for that career so they want to learn more in classrooms and so on. And speaking to them as they're a young adult.
You want me to share with you kind of where that started? So I grew up in this community. My parents were new immigrants, 12 aunts and uncles on one side, 12 aunts and uncles on their side. I was the first to go to college. And here's what I challenged our staff with when I came back as an assistant superintendent of college or curriculum instruction, and then now superintendent. I said, who messages college and career? Who messages that inspiration towards that future? Because they know their parents work out in the field, they work in a packing house, and they might not have mentors. Not all of them, but many of them do not have any mentors. So that is when we took on this charge 11 years ago. We were going to be the ones that messaged every chance we got. And we built it into everything that we do. So it's kind of that water torture, right? That you hear it, before you know it, you believe it, and you are completely bought into it. Our elementary schools have all this college and career murals and banners and this and that. And so before they know it, hey, there's no other place to go. But
yeah, I love that. And we can use messaging for good, which is what you're doing. And it sounds like you've been there 11 years and this change started in a humble way. You're basically telling us a superintendent can come in, can make a big impact on the future of kids. It takes a few years to get those kids through the program, but so incredible. And I love that you constantly reminding kids, you're capable of any career you want. We're going to show you how to get there, but also how to taste test it before you get there. Let's have a snackable taste test of, do you want to be an engineer? Okay, cool. If you don't, do you want to be an astronaut? Do you want to do this? Do you, whatever that is, do you want to be a teacher? Let's try that in 6th grade. I think you said 8th. I think you said 11th. And so there's no surprises.
And the pathways and academies beginning in middle school allow that.
Yeah, I love that. You're really helping a lot of kids that way. All right, we're diving into the final question, the hottest question, Superintendent, on everybody's mind. Every district's talking about it. But first, I want to pause for a second. While our podcast isn't sponsored by anyone, I do want to give a little sponsored shout out to my incredible team. Smart Social Team, we have a dozen people across about 7 or 8 states who are doing an incredible job helping each school district that we partner with. Thank you to all those school districts. We host 54 plus live parent engagement events in both English and Espanol and Mandarin and 12 other languages. So parents can learn. We did AI last month. This month is how video apps suck your kids in and unfortunately make them numb. Next month is anti-bullying month. The following month is disappearing messages on all the apps. Yes, Snapchat, we're going to talk about you. Thank you to the incredible team. We're reaching millions of people with these targeted things. And we are in the language business because everything that we do incredibly in English is word for word translated into Espanol and all these other languages that are near and dear to my heart as I am somewhat bilingual. So thank you to the team. In addition to all of our school district partners, thank you. Do not forget that we have those video modules just for teens to watch. Students, we have a watered down video module. They do not need to log in. Put it in your Chromebooks, have them click on that. It opens up, it gives you a little bit of analytics as to what school they're watching from, but that's all we capture from kiddos is where is their location, not who they are. We're fighting for student privacy protection, and we love that. Thank you to the team and everybody else, and to our partners. You can reach out to Rosalind and our team for customer success, partner success, and any parents watching this, you can reach out to learn more about us. Okay, we're back to the program here. Superintendent, the hottest question that we have for everybody that we're all talking about, and it was scary in the beginning, and now it's exciting, and now everybody's going, how do we not use this? The question is, how is your school district approaching AI tools like Claude, Google Gemini, and especially ChatGPT?
Well, I was one of those people that were super excited, and I started playing with it and did all that right as it started. And so then I implemented into my administrative agendas all of last year. One administrator would come and share a new AI tool and what they're doing with it, what it does, what they're doing, and how they are rolling it out to their staff. For last year was just an exploration year, and it was so much fun. We all learned so much from each other. And so every meeting would start off with a kickoff of something. I started it off with ChatGPT and how to write up individuals using the Frisk model. And this is something that is really hard for our administrators to do because it's that courageous thing, right? When something's not going well. So I showed them how easy it is with ChatGPT. I explained how they don't use names, and I explained, but ChatGPT knows the Frisk model, and it gives them a great beginning and cuts their time down to like 25%. So that's the way I kicked it off at the beginning of last year. And then every month we had such incredible tools presented to us by the rest of the leaders. And so this year we actually gotten much more formal. We established a committee. We've surveyed teachers. We established a committee. And now this committee, the goal is that by the end of this school year, we have policies in place. We have a 3-year plan that encompasses trainings, staff developments, and guardrails for students if we need them, and what we're going to open up, what's not going to be opened up. Half of that we will have arrived by the middle of the school year. But the goal here is by the end of the school year, this school year, we're going to have so much clarity.
I love that. And here's what I heard from you that I think other superintendents need to hear too. This AI thing in the beginning was scary, but it was exciting. We didn't know what to do. But now the dream goal that I'm hearing from so many superintendents, and I'd love your input on this, is AI can save us time so that we can have more face time with stakeholders like students, teachers, parents, district leaders. And if AI can help us with the writer's block of starting that email that goes out to the whole district, and I'll just refine it. Or if AI can say, I'm going to do this write-up of these sets of goals or my vision or this, or I'm going to put my voice into it, or it's going to listen to a meeting, no personally identifiable information in there, but then it's going to take all the key takeaways and next steps, and it can save my team that time. I have more resources to be face to face to help these students, help these parents. And that's what I'm really hearing from a lot of superintendents. How are you using that? Are you finding that's opening up more face time for you?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Even more importantly is for our teachers, for lesson planning. Some of the tools that we learned last year, then I gave a directive, I could roll this out to teachers. They need to know about it, and so we would develop these quick little information slides and roll this out to teachers because they need to know that these tools are out there that will cut their planning time into fractions. So absolutely, all the administrator would tell you that that has saved them time. Like, for example, I get community members that want me to write them a letter, an immigration letter. And so I interview them. I ask, what committees have you been in? Who are your children? And then I go through and have ChatGPT start my letter. And I just put in the identifiable information into my letter. And 10 minutes, I have it done. All of that used to happen at home on my couch, and I would be working through midnight because most of my paperwork is done in the evenings. So it has definitely given me the gift of time. And I know for my administrators, it has as well.
What a great outcome. I love that. Hey, Superintendent, thank you so much for joining us here today on the podcast.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Josh. And I'm so looking forward to diving deeper into all the tools that you have available. And what a great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. And to the rest of you, we're so honored to have so many, at the time of this recording, 135 to 138 episodes with superintendents and district leaders sharing their insights, their successes, where their future is, and how they're helping to support students so that they're safe and successful. We have a motto here at Smart Social, which is helping every kid be safe so they can shine online someday. That's for their dream career, their college, and as the superintendent says, community, which I so love. I think I might adopt that and take it with us. Parents, educators, and everyone else, a shameless plug. Remember, when you're online, your kids are watching. Remember to keep it light, bright, and polite because they see what we do. We'll see all of you on the next episode. Have a great rest of the day. Take care. Thanks for listening to our smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This was our District Talk segment where we interview school district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday launch into their future by shining online. This episode was brought to you by our smartsocial.com VIP program. It's called the Very Informed Parent Program, which helps you engage your students with teen-led video lessons. Stay one step ahead with our premium parent newsletter and discover hidden features on trending apps on teens' phones and our 54 plus live parent and student-friendly events every single year. You can click on the link below to chat with one of our team members if you want a free pass to our VIP program to support your community with our smartsocial.com resources. And if you're a district leader who has a success story, we would love to feature you on a future episode. You can click the links below to reach out. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a great day.